Howdy y'all. We're going to be shooting a Smith & Wesson 77A today. And this belongs to a friend of mine. He asked me if I could rebuild one. I said, well, sure, we can rebuild it as long as we can get the parts. And we did a little research. We found some information on it. Contacted another friend of mine, and he hooked me up with a guy that should have had the parts, and I called him, and sure enough, he had all but one part, and that was the elevator. So we ended up making one. We ended up making two parts for this thing. One of them's the inside. It was the automatic safety. It was missing. We wanted to try to put it back as close to original as possible. But during our research, we found really the only good information I found anyway was article that Tom Gaylor did on one, and he had acquired one in 2019 at Texas Air Gun Show, and obviously I didn't see it. He must have had it hid because I was at that gun show and I sat at his booth and talked to him for a little while. So anyway, we went through it. We sanded all the wood down, and it's just got some plain white wood on it. We stained it, put about 5 coats of linseed oil on it. We've coated all that externals on it with some paint, some Duracoat, and we've got it running. And what's unique about this gun is how you cock it. And you cock it by dropping the lever, and then you can load your pellet in here. And when you cock it, it has an automatic safety, but it is a multi-pump. Smith & Wesson says 3 to 20 pumps. And what's cool about that is that comes from the Smith & Wesson manual. We found that online. Somebody had photocopied their old manual, and it was online. So we printed it off so we could have a copy of it. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to try to copy Tom Gaylor's what he did in his article on it, and see if we can't duplicate the velocities. Like I say, when you find an article on with Tom Gaylor as the author, it's like that's pretty much all you have to look for, because Tom Gaylor is the air gun godfather, or the godfather of air guns. So we're gonna try to do a 5-shot group, and then we're gonna do all the little tests that he did, like 3 pumps, 4 pumps, 5 pumps, using Crossman Premiers. And we feel the same way as he did, that we don't really want to pump this thing up 20 pumps. We're just probably about 10 max where we're going to go, maybe a little bit more. When we do a little test here and see what the curve is on how much pumping does, we'll determine that. But probably 10 to 12 is what we're going to end up with. And then he did do a test with 20 pumps using the RWS Hobbies. These are a little bit lighter pellets. They're 11.9 grains, and he was getting, I think he did 3 shots, and his last shot was 700 feet per second. So we're going to see if we can't duplicate that. All right, let's get set up and do a little shooting. after I show this, I'm going to show the insides, and it'll kind of explain what you got to do. You can't pump this up unless you cock it, and I like to just open it up and then pump it. It's got a really long stroke on it. Load your pellet, close her up. I have no idea where it's going to hit, so let's see.
$546. $561. $566. $567. $560.
560, huh? Well, that's actually a little bit better than when I came out here just to test and see if it was pumping up. It was doing about 530, and that's about what Tom Gaylord's was doing, about 530. So the seats and stuff are probably starting to settle in on this one, so it's probably coming up a little bit. And you got to realize Tom Gaylord's was as far as he knew, never been rebuilt. So, and that was in what, 2019, and these guns were built between 1971 and 1978 by Smith and Wesson. So, all right, let's get on with the other test. All right, I just want to show this mechanism, how this works, before I put the springs in it, because once you put the springs in it and it's tight, everything's got to be just perfect. But this little lever here is the automatic safety. We wanted to make it go back kind of as original as possible. That was missing, and I forgot to see if there was one available. But anyway, piece of scrap metal, a few minutes with a hacksaw and a file and Dremel, and we had it made. Could have took it to work and made it on a mill or something, but we just did it at home. Anyway, safety is off right now, and you're going to be cocking it. Obviously you're cocking this big huge hammer spring. These two springs are out. This is the trigger spring, and this is another little deal over here that follows everything around. Kind of locks everything in place, but as you bring it around, this little latch comes down, flips the safety up, cocks the hammer. When the hammer spring is pushing that down, it catches it back so that it's ready to fire again. Take it off safety, and there you go. And it's working the bolt at the same time. That's how the inner workings of this Smith & Wesson 77A is. Okay, here's the valve out of the Smith & Wesson 77A. You got your main body. This is your exhaust valve, exhaust spring, spacer, intake spring, and then your intake poppet, and then your end plate. And then you have these two little deals here that once you put it all together, those go down into that there and holds it in place. How do you get them back out? Is that they're threaded on the ID. So when they're in there, you just thread this 440 screw in there and keeps threading it until it comes out the other side, and then it'll just pull it out. That's how you get those pins out. You can also use these threads to tap it back in too. So, all right, the O-ring that was here was just gone. It was a mess. Here is the old one. Let's see if we can get it to get some more light here. See, where was that? Here's the old one, and here's what they sent me. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I hope it is. It's a little small on the width, I thought, but that's what they sent me, so we're going to try it. So what we're going to do here is obviously install the O-rings first. I like to use Ultimox 226 to lubricate my O-rings. You can obviously use any kind of silicone grease. This stuff is very expensive. I forgot what I paid for it. Let me get some floss here. See if I can get it open. It's a brand new one. I ain't never had it open. Get some floss here. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Let me move all this over a little bit. Let's get the, I think this is a custom made one by who I bought it from, and I think this is new old stock on this. Right, or he may be redoing those somehow or another. Anyway, we're going to get some this. You don't need much. Take this piece of floss, stick through it. Probably don't even need it now. That one's good. Usually if it's hard to do, then you just take and do that around it. But that one was pretty easy. Let's see, this other one may be a little bit harder to do. All right, come on. Got too much grease on my hands now. Once you get it up on there, then you can take and do like that. Instead of rolling it, and messing up the rubber, just slide it on there like that. All right. Let's see, this poppet goes in there. The spring's going to go there. The spring's going, oh, we got to put this poppet in. All right. It's right where it's supposed to be, right there. But right on the end, it's dinged up right there. So it's a little oversized. So we're just gonna file that corner down a little bit. So let me get a file. All right, good old magnifying glass. Can't see no more. It had a couple little dings right in here from something. She slides in now. So get that in the hole. There it goes. Let's see, we need the spring. We need our, hope I showed that, got that on camera. This may be a little tricky right here. Let's see here. Let me do this like this. There's one in. So you just, there it is. And so you just take and screw that screw in, and that'll pull that right back out when you, if you ever need to get back into the valve. And there's one Smith & Wesson 77A valve rebuilt. Okay, here's the pump rod. You know, Smith & Wesson didn't make this user-friendly to make it easy to rebuild or to replace the cup. It's basically, you got your main connector here with the adjuster so you can adjust the length. And then this aluminum piece, I'm not sure if it's pressed in there or screwed in or whatever. That's what it looks like. And then you put your felt on there, this little ring, your cup goes on, and then this brass ring is pressed on there, and that's all there is. So what I did was I took this off of here. I measured my overall length with some calipers, took this off so that I could chuck on it right here in a collet, a pop collet in the lathe. And then I took that brass ring that was on there and turned it down. You could see that this was about 312. You know, I knew it was in somewhere in that neighborhood. So I turned it down till I could get till the brass was really thin, measured it, and cut it down. I don't know, I think I had it at 350 when I got it about there. Just took a pair of pliers, and it stress relieved enough that I could just pull that right off. Then I made a new one, and we're going to put it together. All right, what we'll do now is we'll take and put it back in the lathe. You got to make sure that when you press that in, you're pressing it tight enough to seal the bottom of that, because when you're trying to pump that air in here so it won't blow past it. But there it is right there. We'll just take it to the lathe and face that off flush, and we'll be done. All right, we'll take one last look at this thing before we close her up. This big old hammer spring, look how that thing can hold up and garage door. Anyway, that's the hammer spring, and this piece right here, the silver piece, that is actually like the firing pin. It goes up against the back of the valve here, and that's what actually hits it, not the hammer itself. Trigger spring, you got a safety spring over here. This spring here for the follower that follows, it rolls around. There's a piece on the other side similar to this that rolls around it and stuff. Not sure exactly how it all functions there, but that's what that's about.
and then obviously the bolt sliding back and forth. You got a clamp that holds your tube and your barrel together with your transfer port, and then you got a spring, and this is for this holds the pump arm up when it comes in. So that's what's the inside of the 77A is. So we're gonna bolt this thing together.
Stop at the doorway.
Alright, this is the RWS Hobbies 11.9 grain wide cutters at 20 pumps.
$697.
That's right at what Gaylord was shooting. I think his first one was 690 something, his second one was 690 something, and then his last one was 700. Actually, I got it right here. Why don't I look it up? I brought it out here as my cheat sheet. He did 684, 690, and 700. So on the lower pumps, we're kind of a little bit better than him, but on that high end at 20 pumps, we're right at what he was shooting. So I think we did good on rebuilding it. All right, there's all the shots I shot today at 20 yards. And you can't really go by the groups on this because, you know, we did the big pump test. Went from 2 to 14, or no, 3 to 14 pumps, so you can't expect it to be hitting in the same spot. But we'll also find some better pellets to run it, see what it likes. All right, Smith & Wesson 77A. Not a bad gun. Shooting a little low still. I may have to go make another elevator, raise it up a little bit more. I don't know, my friend was wanting to put a scope on it anyway, so we'll decide on that. But we kind of duplicated what time Gaylord had, so I think we did good. I think we saved a gun. It's a kind of a rare gun, hard to find. They're not expensive when you find them, but and I would imagine that probably they're not expensive because not too many of them work. I would think after 50 years or so. Depends on when it was made. If it was 70, if this is a 71, it's 52 years old, so not a bad gun. We get a few things tinkered, get a few things ironed out here on it. We got an issue over here where I got to take care of. Other than that, she's a good one. We'll get it back to its owner. All right, thanks for watching.